And there's all these wars going on. Seems like intelligence is becoming more and more important.
Yeah, I think a number of trends are going to happen. I think one, intelligence has become much more multipolar. So you are getting big intelligence players. We talked about China, India, South Africa, Brazil. Big global South intelligence players are becoming much more influential on a sort of an international stage, really. Where in the past it's tended to be Russia. Lately, China and the Five Eyes have been the dominant sort of features of that. That's going to change, I think, and the global South will become much more important in intelligence terms generally. I think the other big trend is going to be that shift away from state power to private intelligence. So Google, Amazon, and big multinational companies are already massive intelligence players, but they're going to become more important as a sort of.
I mean, even Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg said that he was basically forced by the FBI to block certain content and this and that.
Yeah. And why do you think Musk bought Twitter? I mean, information is king in the modern world, and having access to that information and what people are thinking and feeling and analyzing that through what they're posting on social media, what they're viewing, what they're looking at, is incredibly important, both commercially, but also in terms of intelligence, state power intelligence as well. So I think there's going to be, and I think most state organizations intelligence are quite slow, they're quite cumbersome, they don't have the expertise to really effectively leverage that world. So the only way they're going to do, and also just money and finance and manpower. So the way they'll do that is private partnership. So they'll be working more and more with private intelligence partners, tech companies. There'll be that sort of symbiosis will be a lot closer than it is now. So you'll get a blurring of what's an intelligence agency and how often. I mean, already the CIA has spent a lot of time subcontracting out a lot of its work to, Snowden was a contractor, wasn't he? Comes with risks. He worked for Booz Allen Hamilton and various sort of contracting companies. So there's going to be that process of subcontracting out work, and that creates risk, but also opportunity for intelligence services as well. So that is inevitable. That's definitely going to happen, just in terms of the way the intelligence world is going, I think. But I think intelligence, I think it's always been important. It's just maybe not been as obvious and as recognized. You go back to the very early very earliest societies, there's always an intelligence function there. And it's always been an important part of statecraft, I think. So I think now it's just going to be more visible and more apparent. But yeah, it's a really important part of any conflict, I think. It's been a really important part of Ukraine. Sometimes the intelligence is changing in terms of not its sort of its importance, but its method. So the Ukraine, I think, probably has often been portrayed as the first open source intelligence war. So now everyone's an intelligence agent. In the past, you'd have formal intelligence, you might have private intelligence. Now everyone in the Ukraine with a smartphone is an intelligence officer, because they're uploading stuff onto social media, they're geolocating where they are. That's being harvested by intelligence organizations, both for and against different sides. So literally that ability to have film content, video content, audio content, geolocation content means that everyone potentially is an intelligence officer fighting.
Even Starlink has been huge, providing satellite content.
Massive, yeah.
And even I think powering telecommunications for intelligence.
Yeah. And it also means in terms of analysis, it's not just collection. So we talked about collection and mobile phones and stuff. It's also analysis. Lots of people sitting at home on a laptop working out what Putin's going to do next, because they can look at Starlink feeds coming down. They can look at stuff that's on the internet. Famous things like, the internet predicted Putin's invasion of the Ukraine probably a little bit before formal intelligence agencies, because they were more nimble, they were quicker. You've got hundreds of thousands of people, millions of people over the world being their own sort of informal intelligence analysts and sharing that information, a lot of which is nonsense, but some of it's good. So, that's just economies of scale, isn't it? It's just like, how do you make that better intelligence service by just making sure, instead of having 6 agents on a street as you did in the past, you have 350,000 people in the Ukraine who are uploading stuff on their phones that you find useful, that you can then analyze. So that, I think, is completely transformed. So the ability of open source has been absolutely transformational, and that will continue, I think, as just technology grows and grows and grows. But everyone has a smartphone now, and everyone is a source of intelligence, where in the past that wasn't the case. And global intelligence as well. So if I want to know about what's happening on the street in Tehran, do I go to the CIA, or do I just look on the internet and see what people are uploading on social media? I'd probably go to social media.